My name is John Pasfield, and the title of this reading will be Shakespeare and Cleopatra Video 22, The Ballad of Cleopatra. So this is my novel, Shakespeare and Cleopatra, My Life is Not My Own. And here's the summary. Cleopatra is dead, hovering between life and the afterlife. By some strange process, she becomes aware that a playwright is telling her story. Who is this Shakespeare? What does he know about her? What kind of Cleopatra does he intend to create? He seems to be unaware of her presence, but perhaps if she talks to him as he writes, she can exercise some control over the story of a life that she fears is no longer her own. In chapter 1, Cleopatra becomes aware that a playwright is writing a play, which will be based on her life. Within a few chapters of thought, she becomes aware that the playwright who is writing about her is William Shakespeare of the Globe Theatre in England. As the novel progresses, Shakespeare writes his play, and although Cleopatra talks to him, Shakespeare does not acknowledge her presence in the room. Cleopatra, who can't read English, can see the words that he's writing, but has no idea what kind of Cleopatra the new play will present. It could be a travesty. It could make her look ridiculous and comical. She doesn't know that. As Cleopatra talks to Shakespeare, the reader of this novel will realize that Cleopatra's concern with her posthumous legend, the Cleopatra myth, began long before the beginning of chapter 1. I'll explain this after I read the Ballad of Cleopatra. This ballad is interlayered with other imagery in the mind of Cleopatra, so it appears in 7 chapters of her thoughts, with 3 verses of the ballad in each of those chapters. So 21 verses, obviously. Chapter 3 is the first chapter in which there are verses. Page 18. Let's get organized here. Here it is. Oh, what will you do, Cleopatra? Cleopatra, what will you do? You are born with a father in exile, his treasury drained in tribute to Rome. Born of ancient and admirable lineage, trace your roots to the fountain itself. Every grace adorns your person, every gift the gods could bestow. But the stars are in ill alignment. In the womb you could not have known. You should have chosen another kingdom. Yours is the one in rapid decline. So that's the first 3 verses. Let's go to page 34 for another 3 verses of the Ballad of Cleopatra. Oh, what will you do, Cleopatra? Cleopatra, what will you do? Father restored in great elation, father dead in great despair, sharing the throne with your treacherous brother, sharp as a knife is your golden crown, yoke like a steer to the one who would harm you. Count the days as your taper burns low. Oh, what will you do, Cleopatra, my princess? A treacherous villain is stealing your throne. No fine army to protect your jewels, no stout castle that you can call home. Okay, then we go to the 3rd installment of 3 verses from page 50 on. Oh, what will you do, Cleopatra? Cleopatra, what will you do? Great loves are hard to come by. Great loves are in short supply. Let me find the 2nd verse here. That was page 50. 52. Okay, over the page. Rare the love, complete with an army. Rare the love with the power of Rome. Rare the love who solves your problems, joy for your bed, and relief for your throne. And then I think we go over to 55. There's spread out a little more in this chapter. Here we are. Wonderful days with wine and flowers, wonderful nights with silk and song. No one would dare to oppose our princess, held in the arms of the wise and the strong. Okay, now we go to page 70 for 3 more verses. As Cleopatra's life moves on, as depicted in this ballad. Oh, what will you do, Cleopatra? Cleopatra, what will you do? Your great love doffed his armor, dared to don the Roman crown. Loved by the people, loved by his queen, now he lies in a pool of crimson, stabbed in the back by the best of his friends. And then another one on page 73. Here we are. Let me find it here. Oh, here it is. Gone the silks and gone the satins, trudging through miles of desert sand, a shabby throne in a tattered kingdom, surrounded by jackals on every side. So Cleopatra has her ups and downs. And now we go to chapter 11, page 86. Oh, what will you do, Cleopatra? Cleopatra, what will you do? Great loves are hard to come by. Great loves are in short supply. Rare the love complete with an army. Rare the love with the power of Rome. Rare the love who solves your problems. Joy for your bed and relief for your throne. Now that's a repeat. Julius Caesar was the first answer to that desire. Mark Antony is the second answer to the need for a great love who will protect her. Let me find the next one then. 90. There it is. Twice you were blessed with the love of the centuries. That's Julius Caesar, and then when he was stabbed, Mark Antony came along. Twice you were blessed with the love of the century. Twice you've risen above the waves, a drink in one hand and a sword in the other. Together you'll rule for the end of your days. So each time it seems like it's going to be forever. Okay, I have to flip a page here and then go to page 104. Oh, what will you do, Cleopatra? Cleopatra, what will you do? Roles are changing with the hour. You are Egypt, but who is Rome? After Antony's gone, who then represents Rome? Who will be the next powerful Roman to guard Cleopatra and her country, Egypt? Cast the dice and take up the challenge. Wade in deep and face the tide. Mistaken signals and tattered sails, battered armor and broken swords. And then we go to this one on page 107, this verse. A dead man as your husband, a vision of you in chains, your throne, a massive monument, a basket of figs, and a few chosen words. Well, the basket of figs contains the poisonous snake and the possibility of Cleopatra's suicide. Okay, and then the last segment of 3 verses of the ballad. Oh, what will you do, Cleopatra? Cleopatra, what will you do? You are dead, and in a coffin you are wrapped in a winding sheet. No more blood and no more bone, no more smile and no more frown. A concept for a ballad fit to sing at hangings and fairs. And then the last verse of this ballad about Cleopatra, just an idea, drifting freely, riding air, as does a seed. Seeds are cast on the soil of the centuries. Perhaps you'll take root as the ultimate queen. So 2 great loves during her life. After her life, maybe a great life in terms of her myth, Maybe, we'll see. Most of us aren't famous after our deaths. If we're remembered at all, we'll be remembered in the hearts and minds of those who knew us. Unlike us, famous people realize that after they have died, they'll be written about by those who come after them. They also realize that they can be written about by many different people and that their legacies can take many different forms. I said in my introduction that Cleopatra's concern about the way in which she'll be written about goes back beyond her situation in chapter 1 of this novel, where she finds herself in a room with the playwright William Shakespeare, who's writing a new Cleopatra play. If you look at a passage in that play, the play that Shakespeare's writing, Antony and Cleopatra, you'll see what I mean. As at one point the character Cleopatra says, now these are lines from Shakespeare's play, Cleopatra speaking. She says, excuse me, the quick comedians meant actors in those days, the quick comedians extemporally will stage us and present our Alexandrian revels. Antony shall be brought drunken forth, and I shall see some squeaking Cleopatra buoy my greatness in the posture of a whore. So a squeaky-voiced actor will buoy her greatness. He'll be a boy playing her, because in Shakespeare's theater, females couldn't go on stage. It had to be a boy playing a female. So she's afraid of this, eh? She's afraid that Antony will be presented in plays as a drunken clown, and she will be presented by a squeaky-voiced boy. In my novel, Cleopatra's Dead, in Shakespeare's play, here's Cleopatra at the end of her life, expressing her concern that the story of her legacy, of her legend, of her myth, will pass into control of other people. As a worst-case scenario, she imagines a scene in which greasy mechanicals, people of the lower orders, sing ballads and write plays about her and her acquaintances, which will stress the frivolous side of Cleopatra's life and even bring an actor on stage who'll play Antony as a drunken clown. Worst of all, she says, a squeaky-voiced boy will play the role of Cleopatra herself. So it's understandable that when Cleopatra, in the afterlife, finds herself in a room with a playwright who's writing a play about her, she becomes quite worried as to how he will present her life and legacy. In a sense, my novel, Cleopatra, My Life Is Not My Own, and Shakespeare's play, Antony and Cleopatra, form a loop in which they each precede and follow one another. So my play, my novel, the play, my novel, the play. In the play, Cleopatra worries that she'll be travestied after her death. In the novel, Cleopatra tries to influence a playwright who's writing a play about her, and in the play which he's writing, Cleopatra worries about her legacy, her legend, and her myth. So novel follows play, follows novel, follows play. So which book do you think you should read first? Now, this is my novel, Shakespeare and Cleopatra, My Life Is Not My Own. It's found on Amazon where there's more information. It's found on my publisher's website, roxmillspress.com, where there's also more information. On my website, there are 2 free books that I have written, which you can read just by clicking on the cover icon at johnpassfield.ca. A planning notebook, which I wrote while I was planning and writing the novel, and a reflective journal, which I wrote while I was polishing the novel. That's at johnpassfield.ca. Lastly, I'll say thank you for watching this video.